Deebo Samuel was on press row down at the Super Bowl, and everyone was asking him about Jimmy Garoppolo. And tell people what he said.
So Deebo essentially said along the lines of, he was asked, at least in the clip I saw with Jim Rome, and Jim Rome had talked about, hey, tell us a little about Jimmy Garoppolo and how everybody's behind him and everybody loves him so much. And Deebo was like, man, we see what happens behind the scene, right? With just how hard he works. He's been here. We've won with him. He gets hurt. He plays through it. He's tough. He's a great leader. All things that, a guy like Trey Lance, a rookie, needs to learn how to do. And I think that is clear. And I think that's why his teammates do come to his defense so much when people in the media attack Jimmy Garoppolo, for, I think, reasons that are justified. But, he's saying, listen, we know the person and we like that person. And we're willing to go to war with that guy because we see what he goes through on a daily basis. And from being in that position before, previously playing on teams, I get it, getting behind somebody that everybody else is like getting on. But when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, it kind of is what it is. I think a lot of it is warranted. If Jimmy Garoppolo was going out there week in and week out, lighting it up, I don't think you'd hear as much pushback on him as you do. So I understand his teammates coming to his defense, but
that's to your point. Like, doesn't that speak more to the character of the teammates than to any truth about Jimmy? It just shows that the teammates are good teammates. Like, this gives me respect for Deebo because I grew up on Terrell Owens and he wouldn't say stuff like this if it wasn't warranted, right? I mean, he eviscerated Jeff Garcia, who in my opinion was a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. And the fact that Deebo's here being like, man, I'll be friends with him for life. It's a different generation. I don't know. It's nice. It makes me respect Deebo very much. It doesn't change my opinion of Jimmy in the slightest.
Right. Those are the kind of guys that they've really worked hard to bring into the locker room, whether it's Deebo, guys like Kittle, guys like Warner. they are all really good guys. And I think they chose that type of locker room. And it's beneficial at a time when you're, 2-4 and then 3-5, you have a big loss to the Colt McCoy-led Cardinals. That was a time where most teams that are about, like, when it's about the players, they'll kind of just fold. The 49ers didn't, because it is about everybody. It is about the team. And I think, you hear comments like that from not just Deebo, but really everyone that speaks out about Jimmy Garoppolo. It really just shows how tight-knit that group is. And a guy like Trey Lance, he's still kind of working to get into that and has to kind of, prove that he belongs in that kind of room as well.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take long, though, if he plays well. Like, I would imagine, I don't cover the Rams. I would imagine people said a lot of nice things about Goff on the way out. I'm sure Cooper Kupp did. I'm sure they all did. I mean, nothing personal against Goff. And then Stafford comes in and it's like, okay, well, my career just took off. Thank you very much, Stafford, and good luck, Jared Goff. And if Lance has that kind of effect where he's throwing for 5,000 yards, 30, 40 touchdowns, then Deebo will really, really, really like Jimmy. Because I think the number one reason he likes Jimmy is that Jimmy threw him the ball like a ton. I mean, he gave him 135 targets. How could you not like a quarterback like that? If Trey Lance can come through too, then they'll be friends.
I think the tough thing for Trey Lance is, he is following up Jimmy Garoppolo, somebody that is extremely loved. And, it's not going to be just smooth sailing the entire way with a guy like Trey Lance. Now, we've seen him do well with really both receivers, right? I think Deebo had some pretty big games with him. Ayuk had a really good game with him. But, continuing to kind of build that continuity and develop as more of a pure passer, I think that's something that's going to take, more than just a year. And I think, Deebo kind of alluded to that as well.
There was one more thing he talked about. He had the little sit down with Rome. There was another one. I was with you with the Pro Football Focus, or I don't know. I retweeted it. It's on my timeline on Twitter. He was talking about, someone asked him, like, so by the way, Tom Brady, there's rumors that he would want to play for the 49ers. What do you think about playing with the GOAT? And Deebo's like, I had no idea. Like, he was just totally legitimately shocked and didn't have an answer. I think is pretty. How do you say no to Tom Brady again? Also, he said he's excited to play with Trey Lance, so he's saying the right things. But real quick before we move on, Tom Brady, you think he is there any legs to this?
I don't know, man. I mean, he just retired, and I know he kind of like left the door open for a return. After a while, he'll see how he feels. I would question what the 49ers plan has been all along if they go and get him. Now, I'm not going to push back on it. Tom Brady's great. 49ers to do better with him. But, I mean, at some point, you have to really work to kind of develop your young guy. And, success doesn't happen overnight. I know Josh Allen was a guy who took over a team that just previously went to the playoffs. He didn't play great his first year. He didn't really play great his second year. Played well enough to go to the playoffs, and now he's amazing. But, it took time to kind of get to that point, and the 49ers had to be willing to kind of get through that, or they're just going to continue this kind of cycle of Trey Lance has to develop and all that stuff.
The Jedi says Kyle had his awakening moment in that Houston game. It seemed like he started figuring out how to call games for Lance in the second half, like play action. It's get to the play action part in your playbook that you crossed out because Jimmy doesn't like it. Sean says, I can't take this anymore. Yeah, he's made it, but when is Florio right? He's a freaking Vikings fan and usually wrong. Him, King, Papa, and Schefter should have a show called Jim Delusions. Yeah, I think he likes trolling the Niner fan base more than I do. And so all I have to say to that is respect.